My clients are not necessarily trying to run a marathon or, bench press their body weight or climb some Himalayan mountain. But they want to be able to keep doing the things that they're used to doing and that they want to enjoy. So it might be gardening, it might be getting down on the floor and playing with grandchildren. It might be traveling, and walking on cobblestones in Paris.
Welcome to my podcast, Over 40 and Fabulous, a show that helps you live your best life no matter your age. I'm Robin Thomas, lifestyle and wellness expert and a community leader in holistic health. I'm the founder of Living Well Connections, a healthy living community that supports, educates, and empowers us all to make healthy decisions toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. Today's guest, Susan Saenger, is a certified personal trainer, board-certified dance movement therapist, and a licensed clinical mental health counselor. She has women and men over 50 maintain an active lifestyle for almost 15 years. She also teaches dance for Parkinson's, enjoys trips to the mountains, and is learning to kiteboard, and has chickens.
Susan, I'm so happy that we could talk again. We did this before way back in 2020, and I'm just very excited about our conversation today.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me. I remember when we did that before, and it was really fun.
It was fun, and you have wonderful knowledge about the workings of the human body. And one of the things I've been seeing across your social media is, how do we want to live our lives that second half, half of our lives? What do we want? And I think that's a wonderful topic and very appropriate to our audience here, over 40 and fabulous. So how can we stay fabulous in the second half of our life?
Yeah, well, I mean, movement is the medium in which we live our lives. I think that was a dance therapist called Marion Chase who said that, but it really is. We live in physical bodies. They are meant to move, and we live in a culture that places us in chairs in front of screens and gives us all these conveniences so that we don't have to walk down to the river and carry the buckets of water or, chop down the tree and all the things, which is great, except for that those are things that our bodies were, really good at doing. And I think our bodies want to do those things. It's like for me, if I don't move my body, I start to feel weird, like I feel this strange combination of tired and anxious,
Oh, yes, I have that too.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a conundrum because, part of your brain is saying you should rest, because you're tired. But actually, at least in a lot of circumstances and a lot of the time for me, what I actually need is to move. And then when I move, I actually feel better. So, obviously that's very circumstantial and individual, but generally, like you said, you've noticed that. And I just think we're meant to move, right? So movement keeps our energy up, keeps our mind sharp. And as you know, I work with older people, and one of my things that I talk about a lot is muscle, keeping your muscle mass, keeping your bone density, in order to be able to do all the things you want to do, assuming you are into moving like I am. But so like my clients, a lot of them aren't trying to climb Mount Everest or bench press their body weight or run a marathon, but they do want to go on excursions, and that might mean that they're going to hike a mile or two, or they're going to walk on cobblestones in Paris, or so uneven surfaces and that kind of thing they're concerned about. They don't want to be the one that's kind of holding everybody up on the if they're traveling.
on the tours and things.
Yeah, on the tours and things. And also, you know, a lot of them have grandchildren. They want to be able to play with their grandchildren. They want to go on the family trip where they might have to, you know, get on a boat or, you know, walk down steps to the lake, to the dock, you know, or, you know, they want to be able to like play and be silly and dance with their grandchildren, or they like to garden, you know, and they want to be able to like get down on the ground and dig in the dirt, haul mulch. I mean, all these things, we use our physical bodies all the time to do all these things, and we want to keep doing those things.
Keep doing those physical things and functional. I keep thinking this is functional work. This is helping your body be functional to continue to do these things you love, to continue to garden, I want to continue to climb mountains. I don't want to climb Mount Everest. But the Appalachian Mountains here on the East Coast is fine with me. If I can climb these mountains, I'm happy. And being out in nature makes me happy. So it's really not only physiological, but it's also mental health too, to be able, like you said, to be able to move your body, to feel less anxious.
Right. I kind of laughed that my solution to everything with my kids was go take a walk. You know? But I mean, I do kind of believe that, like if they were upset or they couldn't focus or whatever, I would say, you know, go move, go take a walk, and then come back and try again, you know, because it is good for your brain and your body. Yeah, so you want to be able to like do that 4-mile hike up across the, you know, rocks and the river and up to see the waterfall or whatever. And you want to have the footing and you want to have the stamina. And the thing is that you can do it if you do it, right? Like if you don't do it every day, if you only can get out there to do that kind of hike, once a month or so, let's say, you've got to do things in between. If you don't do the things in between and you just try to do it once in a while, you'll find that it gets hard.
Absolutely. And that's sort of where you come in.
Right. Helping so that's where you train.
Train with specific exercises that are going to help you do those things you want to do with your grandchildren or with friends, you know, traveling or just if you'd love to garden. I love to do all those things.
Yeah. Well, you might be out gardening regularly too. And that's great. What I found is that, you know, sometimes my back would start to hurt or, you know, just run out of steam.
Well, yeah, especially in July in North Carolina when it's
and I have clients who, you know, they wear about their knees, you know, getting down on the ground and their knees hurt and that kind of thing. And I mean, the thing is that we know that as we get older, and it starts pretty early when we're not thinking about it yet at 35 or 40, we're not really thinking about that. You know, we're thinking we're in the prime of our lives, and we kind of are. And but the reality is that the body does stop, you know, building. And so if you're not actively building muscle at that point, then you're losing it. And it starts slowly, but then it starts to accelerate. And so the more you have built, so if you've been an active person all through your life, you've got a good base, and that's awesome. If you haven't, you can still build. You don't have, you know, it's really never too late. You can get stronger. I mean, I'm stronger now, I'm 57, than I was when I was 27. I know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually in some ways more mobile. I was a dancer. I think you know that was sort of my background, was in dance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, I'm a modern dancer, so not ballet, although I did that some too. But one of the things that dancers tend to do is throw themselves to the floor and then get back up again. And, you know, you just throw yourself to the floor. And that's fine. And I don't want to do that anymore.
That was the first half of your life.
Fine,
You're
and
on
that
to the
was
next.
fun, and I don't want to do that. But I do know that there are things that I could do now that I couldn't do then because I'm just stronger and more flexible. I was never a Gumby, dancer, like one of the girls that when they're 8, they can do the splits like this and then roll down onto their chest and their feet go behind. I mean, I was never, ever that person. And it took years of, working on my flexibility to get to the level of flexibility I have now. But flexibility is only good if you have control through that whole range of motion. If you are really naturally flexible and not strong, you can actually hurt yourself that way too.
I can imagine so, yeah.
So you want to have strength and stability and flexibility, and then you have true mobility.
Now, how do you suggest people get started if they have been, because this happens a lot. People have kids, they've got jobs, they've got kids, and then there's that period of taking your children to all their activities, so you don't have time for your own activities.
It's so true.
All that happens, and all this is, and then people wake up and they're turning 40, and it's like, oh. Or when the last child graduates from high school, it's, oh, okay, now how about me?
Yeah.
And fitting it in. How do you suggest people get started back when they kind of had a hiatus of really taking care of themselves, especially on the exercise component? I think that one drops probably first.
Not everybody is attracted necessarily to like going to the gym and doing that, but it's, you don't want to go to the dentist either,
Yeah.
And I don't really like going to the grocery store. I like cooking, okay, but I don't but there are things that you do because you need to do them.
Yeah.
So I think that's one perspective to have, is to kind of say like, okay, that is might not be my favorite thing, and I know it's going to be good for me, and it's going to allow me to do these other things that I like to do. And I think it doesn't take a ton of time. You don't have to, it doesn't require like changing your whole life. A lot of people spend a lot of time walking. They'll say, I'll say, well, what are you doing now? Well, I walk, 5 days a week, 3 miles. And I'm like, great. Let's use some of that time to lift up heavy things and put them back down again, because the walking is nice, but that's movement. And movement is great for your body, but it's not going to make you stronger, and It's not going to build your bone density. And so a lot of times it's more of prioritizing a few things over a few other things that you're doing already in order to make the time, because I know everybody's pressed for time. So you kind of have to find, a couple of pockets of time a week where you can actually work with resistance.
I think you need to schedule, or I would need to schedule this in and turn it into a habit.
For sure.
So the walking is a habit. Don't even really think about it. I get it walk. And I do a lot of gardening. And I'm carrying heavy things when I garden. So
that's good.
I hand carry my water. I don't pull the hose out. I hand carry all the water. But I can see how, scheduling it in. Let's see. Okay, so Monday morning, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be lifting heavy things. And you talk about instead of just light weights, which people often start with very light weights. You start about moving forward with heavier weights sooner rather than later. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So we know that lifting heavy or working against more significant resistance is going to be a bigger bang for your buck. You're going to build the bone density. Really, it's for bone density to lift heavy. And honestly, with like strength too, if you don't lift heavy, you don't get strong. You can build endurance if you lift light weights a long time. That's fine. That's a good thing to do. But if you want to get strong, you have to lift heavier things. Just like if you want to be a fast runner, you have to run faster. Like you don't get faster by just running longer distance slowly, right? So you get faster by trying to run faster. And it's similar with weights. That being said, if you have not done it, then you don't want to go pick up something really, really heavy and hurt yourself, because that's crazy.
Right.
So getting hurt is not part of the plan.
Good idea.
So the first thing you do is you do lift light and you build up the endurance and you learn the movement pattern. So you have good skill. And then you build on that.
Build up the
So the
heavier
very
weight.
first stuff you're going to be doing is going to be learning certain movement patterns that are, very basic to most lifts. So a squat, a hip hinge, a press, a row, think pushing and pulling kind of movements that you would do with your body functionally, like you were saying. A squat, every time you sit down, you're doing a squat. If you're moving and you have to pick up that heavy box and put it in a truck, you're going to do a deadlift,
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are all the basic movement patterns that you would need to learn. And then, and you don't do that with a ton of weight at first, of course. You do it with just enough to kind of get the feeling of it. And then you build your endurance and your stability through that movement pattern. And then you start to add weight. And of course, you always have to use your body as your guide. So some people have everybody's different. Some people have little issues with their knees or their hips or their back or their shoulder or whatever.
Right.
And so
They need to learn how.
Yeah. So then it's an issue of like finding the movement that works, that's going to get the effect you want, but that's going to work for your body, that you can do. So there's a bunch of variations of all of those movement patterns, and we just have to find the one that works, that you can do, that you will do, that
That's why like you're a perfect example of, you can help people and also someone else watching to make sure we're safe.
Yeah.
Because I can sure in some of these movements, if you're not familiar with the way to do it, even like a squat, people can do a squat in a way that could be hurting their knees, or they could be doing a squat,
Yeah. It's kind of hard to mess up a squat, but you can. But
all right, maybe that was a poor example.
You're not wrong. I'm just saying, like, squats are one of those things that it's kind of harder to mess up, but at the same time, you might not hurt yourself, but you might also not be getting out of it what you are intending to get out of it. So yes, it's very important to do the technique properly, but most of these are not super challenging. Like the basic movement patterns are not, they don't take years to learn. You do them all the time. It's just a matter of like understanding how to do them safely, especially if you're going to add weight to them. And there was something I was going to say that I forgot. So never mind. Go on.
Well, I want to move on to, with this, and I've seen a lot of balancing exercises, and I really believe in balance, not only for just not falling over.
Right.
I think balance is really good for our cognition and brain health too. In fact, for an example, my son had brain injury, and one of the therapies was to get him to balance. And that actually really helped his brain sort of rewire a bit. Yeah. And it also prevents, working on balance for my mother, it was to prevent falls.
Right.
Work on that. And you were talking a little bit earlier about, I don't know, just different ways that getting that practice on balance can help in just everyday life.
Right. Well, balance is really interesting. So many things affect balance. One of the things that you can do for balance is hand-eye coordination. So that, can be fun. Like you can toss a ball or, bounce balls, or just I don't know if playing video games counts, but anyway, I'm not going to advocate that, but might. And it is, it's neurological. It's one of the senses, technically, right? So like you have your hearing and your sight and your taste. You have a kinesthesia and proprioception, right? So like your sense of where your body is in space. It's a sense, and all of our senses tend to lose their acuity as we get older. That's why you end up with your reading glasses or your, or your hearing aids or whatever. But it also is known that balance can be trained and you can improve your balance. Some people might think you can do eye exercises to make your eyesight better too, and that might be true. I haven't tried it. But
I've never succeeded in that.
I don't know if there are hearing exercises, but there are balance exercises, so that's kind of nice. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that balance is very much connected to your strength and your power, meaning like a more of an explosive kind of strength, like throwing or catching or jumping, because if you think about it, we all occasionally trip over something. I tripped over the curb in the Trader Joe's, the other day, and or just whatever that happens. It's not abnormal to trip on something. The key is, if you don't want to fall, that you catch yourself, right? So you trip and your foot goes out to land, whether that foot and your leg absorbs your body weight coming down onto it, which is a multiple of your body weight. It's not just your body weight. When you've got that momentum and you're landing on it, it's more than your body weight, and you land on it. If your leg is strong enough to absorb that weight, you will not fall. But if it's not, then it goes and you're down.
And you're on the ground, yeah.
So balance exercises like standing on one foot or that kind of thing, those are good, but not enough, right? You need to be able to catch your body weight. And so that's where you have to build strength. And it's not enough to actually just be able to catch your single body weight. So like doing a squat, for example, without any weight is my own body weight. That gets me in and out of the couch, but it doesn't catch me if I'm falling.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have to actually be able to push. I have to put weight on my body and practice that, like having extra weight, because when I'm falling, it's extra weight functionally.
That makes perfect sense. I never thought of it that way. I mean, yeah, you think of physics, of course it's going to be, it's more than your body weight. And if you fall from, a, unexpected
falling from any place high.
I'm not, I know I'm not having a fall off a mountain. No, but even just falling, I just thinking like, so, and for me, I do like to hike up in the Appalachian Mountains, and those trails are usually rocky, and you're having to climb up, having to pull yourself up step by step. And if you slip, if you get a wet rock or it slips or something, that's quite a force when you come down. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do okay, you've got me now. I'm going to schedule.
Well, the thing about so it's more than your body weight when you're falling. It's so running is good impact too, because you are every single time you land, you're kind of falling, right? Like that's how running is.
Controlled falling.
Controlled falling. But the other aspect is that explosiveness, the power. So it's not just lifting heavy or having, more than your body weight that you're used to being able to pick up, but also that quickness. So working with more explosive type of movements, moving quickly, those kinds of things are also really helpful. Because the other thing is about our bodies as we age, is we lose the muscle mass, but we also lose quicker first those type 2 muscle fibers, which are the fast twitch muscles that help you, you know, oomph. It's that powerful, that powerful, explosive type of movement that you need to like quickly move or react or get your body off the ground or off the chair, even, really, like when you're you know, jumping up out of your chair because you just won the lottery. You're right.
or the football game you're watching,
you know, or the basketball game. All that is that's power. So, and that I find that to be a little more fun too in terms of the exercise. You know, it can kind of add a component of sort of playfulness to the exercise. And again, we have to build up to that. You know, you're not going to just go out and do, that's what I was going to say, is sometimes when you read on the internets or in the newspaper, you know, the recommendations for exercise, sometimes the exercises that they recommend are just bizarre.
Really?
I mean, sometimes they're like, okay, wait, you want them to do that? Like, it's really complicated. Sometimes they like put out these like really complicated movements.
Sometimes in magazines, I've seen things where I guess they want new material. So let's go off, you know, let's go off the deep end and go in.
Right. And so, you know, I like complicated movements. They're fun and interesting, but if you're a beginner, it's kind of a lot, right? So
yeah, it's a lot to sit there and try to think, okay, what are they doing? And right. We'll go start simple. It's always good.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is start simple, but start.
Exactly.
Don't keep putting it off. I was really bad about putting it off. Oh, well, this is happening. I'm caring for someone else. I'm doing something else. It's time to just, like I said, schedule it and do it.
Yeah, I find that if it's on my calendar, I'm much more likely to do it than if it's not on my calendar. And if you don't feel like it, right? Like if you're waiting until you feel like it,
that may never happen.
You're never gonna feel like it. Like, I mean, I do now, but it's more than, because I've done it for so long, you know, it's like part of my normal.
Well, your body's expecting it.
And my body's expecting it. But I mean, there are plenty of things.
It's not, I have to laugh because it's like, it's not your body going, what are you doing to me?
Sometimes, but you know, you have to decide. I think deciding is a huge part, and then knowing why. And so, you know, why might be, I want to lose weight, I want to climb mountains, I want to play with my grandchildren, I want to, you know, not be frail when I'm older. I don't want to break a hip. Oh my God. I mean, the statistics on that are so scary. I think it's like a huge percent. I'm not going to get the numbers, so I'm not going to try to say it, but a huge percentage of women over 70 like do break hips. Yeah. And the problem with that, and then the even worse than that is that like half of them will never return to their previous level of functioning.
Right.
So it becomes,
and if they're in their 80s, often they're bedridden the rest of their life.
And if they're in their 80s, they might never get back out of bed. Yeah, which is why I was so adamant about my mother getting out of bed after she broke her leg, but
still.
That's
so important. So let's tie this up. Let's keep our audience from having that broken hip.
Right. Well, so the sooner you start, the better. I mean, because it does take time. There are several things you can do if you're interested in building bone, right? Which you ought to be if you're a female over 40, because if you're not building it, you're probably losing it. I mean, there's genetic factors too, and maybe you're lucky, and that's awesome. Stockier people have, bigger bones. That's easier. But if you're a small person, if you have small bones, it's really, you're in the higher risk category. You can do that nutritionally. You can eat a lot of protein. You can do hormone replacement. That really helps. You can, there's something else, but what we know is that lifting and resistance is one of the most consequential in terms of like the percentage of bone you can get back. But all of them are small percentages, 1 to 8% a year of the bone that you may have lost, you can get back. So that means you've got to do it for many years, right? It take time. So you have to start early and be consistent.
Yeah. And you have to do all you can do,
Yeah.
You've got to eat, you've got to provide the ingredients for your bones.
Right. Eat. And I mean, one of the things that I think we struggle with as women in this culture is being so concerned with our size and the number on the scale. And and if you're exercising, but you're not fueling that adequately, then you could actually be harming yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Because the body needs the ingredients to build itself.
Yeah.
And when you could be putting out all this energy, and if you're not putting in the ingredients that are gonna, build it back up again,
it's so true.
It might actually be worse.
Yeah.
So you got to eat, which is good because I like food. And you got to get your protein, and you got to work with resistance.
Well, wonderful. I know that we're going to have someone who's going to want to reach out to you.
Okay.
People want to reach out to you. What is the best way? What is your favorite way to have people reach out to you? Because it varies.
Well, so I do a lot on Facebook. So if you can find me on Facebook, I'm Susan Saenger, and Spry Fitness. And that's probably the best way.
I will put the links in the show notes. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Again, it's been fun.
Always love talking to you.
We always have plenty of stories to tell. But take care, and I'll see you all at the next podcast.
Thank you so much for joining me at my Over 40 and Fabulous podcast. If this podcast has been helpful for you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with those in your life who need to hear this empowering message. And don't forget to download my free gift, 5 Ways to Get Started with Healthy Habits Without Getting Overwhelmed. This free guide leads you through 5 small steps that will allow you to ease into healthy habits until they become a natural part of your life. It's wonderful if you're just not quite sure how to get started. To get this helpful guide, go to robinthomas.biz/community support, and I will put it in the show notes too. Drop in your email and it will arrive straight to your inbox. Bye for now, and I'll see you next episode.